Hello, welcome to another episode of AI Spotlight Show. We are live here at AI4 Conference here in Las Vegas, Nevada. And today is the second day of the conference. We had a wonderful keynote section with Dr. Godfrey Hinton. And today we'll be featuring another organization. Who do we have the opportunity of speaking with? Can you tell our audience a little bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. So my background is I grew up as a software developer and eventually started Geisel Software, and we do a lot in kind of robotics, computer vision, which led us into Symage, creating images to help train computer vision models.
Great. And when was Symage, when was it founded?
We started Symage just about 1 year ago.
Okay. And what do you guys do?
So we create synthetic data to help AI models train faster, better, improve their edge case recognition. And we do that across synthetic images and video. And then kind of in another side, we do that across synthetic tabular data, document data, kind of IRS, insurance kind of data, those kinds of things.
Wow, that is amazing. Now, what differentiates the kind of data provided by Symage, from generative AI data?
Yeah, so for the image and video-based data, what we're doing is we're doing it based on 3D models.
Okay.
And because we're doing it based on a physics model, we're able to do a lot of other things that we can't do with generative AI today. One of them is we're not getting the artifacts. So, we're all kind of familiar, the selfie image, and you look up and all of a sudden somebody has 6 fingers. Mm-hmm. And those kinds of things, those artifacts that you get from the generative AI things. So we don't have that in the 3D model based. If you think about CGI that you get on a movie, for example, those kinds of things that really look real in the way we expect them to look real to the human eye. Mm-hmm. The other thing is we get into things like multimodal. So much of machine learning is going multimodal today. So things like depth and infrared, radar, other parts of the EM spectrum. Mm-hmm. In generative AI, you're just generating the RGB or the photo aspect of the image. Mm-hmm. But when we generate the image, we're generating it from a physics model, so we can get depth, we can get other aspects of the EM spectrum.
Wow, that is amazing. Now, let us deep dive into some of the use cases, how a current client using Symage synthetic data in terms of maybe building their custom AI solution. Can you talk about 5 different industries that are currently patronizing Symage, and what are they using those data for based on their business use case?
Yeah, and it's pretty broad. So we see things like warehouse robotics.
Okay.
And as warehouses are growing and we're automating more and more in the warehouse, okay, a lot of companies are looking to build that out. We're seeing things like government and military application.
Okay.
So things like terrain detection and the ability to do things from satellite, which may or may not be related to the military part, but other things that are detecting things from satellite and from terrain from different angles. We're even looking into some things now for things like, let's say, a home inspection, okay, where you want to train a model to see hundreds or thousands of different homes and do that where you're going into the home and you need the depth and those kinds of things. And so you get the depth information and that kind of thing from homes, things in the maritime industry. So things over water and detection of other ships or the wake of a ship, all kinds of things like that. So it's pretty broad.
Wow. And one use case that comes to mind, because I know beginning of the year, I built some computer vision model. And one use case is, let us assume you're looking for a synthetic data to help you capture defective products in the manufacturing, in production.
Right.
During production, there is a possibility maybe the details of the product are not properly written, or the product is defective. And you need some synthetic data that you are going to train a model to be able to detect which product has the detailed information for the product, or a product that is defective and the one that is not defective?
Yeah. It's a great question. So We've actually been talking to some customers about this, because the cool thing with the 3D model physics-based solution is that if you're building a new product, you already have the CAD model.
Yeah.
You have the 3D model of your exact product. So like we were talking about based on or versus Gen AI, Gen AI is going to try to create a thing that looks like your product. And you might have defects in the Gen AI creation of your product that it thinks is the right thing. In this case, with the synthetic data, we've got your CAD model. That's going to freaking be your product. It's going to be exactly like your product. And now we can do things like take defects that you've seen already and apply them to different parts of the surface of that. We can take other defects and apply them to it. We can deform that 3D model knowing that that is a defect. The other part of that that's important is we can deform that 3D model in a way that's not a defect. Like it still fits within your tolerances, right? Because you want to train your AI model both to recognize defects, but we've seen cases where it got dirty and the model was marking it as defect. It's not defective, it just needs to be cleaned.
To be clean.
And so very light scratches, right? These kinds of things that don't count as a defect, and you can differentiate those. So those are labeled as not a defect versus the scratch that's deep enough that your company considers it a scratch, and we can model those two differently.
Wow, that is amazing. Now, let's talk about the quality of the data. You know, when it comes to building an efficient and trusted AI solution, the quality of the data actually matters a lot. It's just like garbage, the input determines the output, right? Now, how do you guys ensure that you provide quality data that measures with responsible AI principles to your customers or to your clients?
So there's a few different aspects of that here.
Okay.
So one of them is for us, we think about it as what's the context? What's the use case of the client? And let's target for that to be as realistic to that environment as we can make it. The good news is versus generative AI, there is no training set that we trained on. We're generating the data from scratch based on a 3D model. As we said, in the image and video aspect of this. And so from that perspective, all the rest is physics. And so, for example, if we get the 3D model right, and we agree that that fits and that's the right thing for your warehouse or what have you, now everything that we generate based off of that is math. And so the math will get it right. That's why when we label it, for example, our labels are 100% accurate because they're based on math and physics. There's no human in it. There's no human circling hot dogs. There's no AI algorithm that could make a mistake thinking that that's the right thing to put the bounding box around. In this case, when we've created the model, we know exactly what is the target of interest and what isn't. And so we're able to get your labels 100% accurate, that kind of thing. And so then the biggest part is what's your use case and how can we make it as photorealistic to the particular use case you're seeing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, you kind of, will I say, hit the nail on the head? Okay, I think probably this might be my last question. What if in a scenario where you have clients requesting for your service to help them, since you are providing the data, can you help us to train the model? Yeah. Do you guys offer those kinds of services?
Yeah, we do. And we were spun out of our parent company, which is professional services in AI, machine learning, robotics, and all those kinds of things. So that's definitely something that if we're helping someone with synthetic data, but they're like, look, we need to improve our model, or we don't even have a model yet, and we need to create one in the first place. That's all stuff we're happy to help a client get to.
That is amazing. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of AI Spotlight Show. Wow, this brings us to the end of the episode with Symage. As you can see, if you are an organization, an enterprise that is looking for quality synthetic data, Symage is the company you want to visit. You can visit their website, you can send an email to their sales team, and you also heard from the CEO that if you're also looking to train, you're looking for some kind of professional services to be able to train those models with the synthetic data you got from Symage, they can also help with such services. Thank you so much for joining this episode of AI Spotlight Show. My name is Stevie Henry Onowole, the executive producer. We're still AI4 conference here in Las Vegas, Nevada. Stay tuned to the next interview and talk to you guys soon.